Today I am doing a video review of a very limited premium edition Grand Grimoire. This is actually bound by Trident books, and this is actual goatskin cover. It has a textured black and red marbling for the end papers. And one thing to note about this book is half of the book is actually the original language. So just the first half of that bookmark there is in English, and the rest is in Latin. So if you want the original, you can get that there. That is the engraving of King Solomon. Some more information about the Grand Grimoire, practical manual of diabolic evocation and black magic. Also known as the black magic or the infernal arts of the great Agrippa. To discover all hidden treasure and to render all of the spirits obedient to oneself. Trident books. And this was published in 1996 and 2004. So time's certainly flown. This is the second edition. Limited to 1,000 copies, to which this is apparently unnumbered. Content of the text: the first book containing the Grand Grimoire, Great Clavicle of Solomon. The second book containing the Sanctum Regnum. And there's a couple little small little bits there: the Art of Speaking to the Dead, Secret Art of Magic, Mirrors of Solomon, Tablets of Auspicious and Inauspicious Days, The Black Hen, Secrets of Love. Of course, that could be tied to this being a secular work. This could be tied to the Bible itself with Song of Solomon, but Italian text, not Latin text. This book is so rare and sought after in our country that one can call it, by our rabbis, the true great work. And they were the ones who left us this precious original that many charlatans uselessly wanted to counterfeit, wanting to imitate the truth that they never found, to swindle ingenious individuals who have faith in initial encounters without seeking the true source. Been copied from various writings of the great King Solomon. This is the first section of the book, and it goes into chapter 2. Talks about how to prepare. Talks about the first prayer. I implore you, O great and powerful Adonai, head of all spirits. I implore you, O Elohim. I implore you, O Jehovah, O great King Adonai. Condescend to be favorable, so shall it be. Amen. And this is very familiar to the Abramelin ritual. Talks about the offerings that you'll make. Chapter 3, prepare the rod or the wand. Talks about the very specific cuts. If you actually go back and read the Old Testament, you can see where there's a lot of very specific requirements that God had for people to worship Him. So that's where a lot of this stuff that I'm reading here came from. They decided to basically copy those strict requirements and put them in here to make this seem a little bit more legitimate. Talks about the Kabbalistic circle, how you should write it. And the first invocation to Emperor Lucifer. Second invocation, third invocation, grand invocation of the Great Kabbalah. And then it talks about the conversation that you're going to have, the conversation that Solomon had with Lucifuge Riffical, which is the Prime Minister. And that's supposed to be his signature. Dismissal, and it goes into the second book. Second book containing the Sanctum, Regnum, or Clavicus, the true manner of making pacts with the names and powers and tenets, all the great and superior spirits, and also the manner of making them appear by the power of the great invocations of the chapter of the pacts of the clavicle that forces them to obey whatever operations one wishes to execute. There it says Lucifer is the Emperor, Beelzebub is the Prince, Astaroth is the Grand Duke. There's other superior spirits below them. And then you have other 18 spirits. These are supposed to be the signs and characters of the spirits. Again, original to that time frame. Some of these look like they might have been drawn by children. Very fascinating. And this is supposed to be the Kabbalistic circle. Summoning of Lucifer. Art of speaking with the dead, so it gets into a little bit of folklore or necromancy. Circle of white magic. Solomon's mirror. Of course, Solomon had a ring and other things as well. Planetary days. The black hen. And then, of course, it concludes with that and goes into the Latin or the Italian text. So, you know, this book here, I had a few different books that were leather bound in goat skin, but I actually ended up selling them because you can buy so many books for the price of one of these. But I wanted to keep the Grand Grimoire because it is one of the more foundational writings. You know, I would put it up there with the Lesser and Greater Keys of Solomon, Petit Albert, you know, just a bunch of those other texts. Pictrix, I guess you could put in there as well. I haven't actually read that one yet somehow. But yeah, I recommend getting a copy of the Grand Grimoire, even if it's just a little basic paperback version for $7 or $8 on Amazon, to the goatskin leather edition. If you want, you might have to actually request to have this custom made for you at this point. But it's just an interesting piece from this period to really show you how people thought back then. So if you're looking at it from a historical and secular viewpoint, I definitely recommend it. A lot of interesting thoughts in here. And please feel free to like and subscribe. Thanks.